Welcome back to Let's Play Darkest Dungeon. I'm your host, Timepants, and today we're going to take another request here. Somebody in the comments suggested that we take a Highwayman, Hellion, Houndmaster, and an Occultist here. And I think we'll go to the Warrens if we can get a medium mission. Excellent. 90% of rooms is good. I like room battles, though. Why? Because we're going to be taking the Houndmaster with good scouting chance, and this dude here, he's got the Warren's Explorer, he's got the 50% scouting chance, so I'm feeling pretty confident that we should be able to get a lot of value out of that scouting, so hopefully we won't get ambushed a lot. Let's get into it here. And this is something that I heard, okay? Alright, this is something I heard that you could do. So, like, alright, I sold one of these earlier, and it was, like, for 2,200, but here, okay. Maybe they hotfixed that, because, yeah, I was told that you could sell it for, like, full trinket wagon value here, but perhaps I was mistaken. Or I don't know how to do that. If anybody knows, if there's a secret to it, I would just like to check it out just once. Like, I'm not going to exploit it because, you know, that's kind of dumb. But it would be kind of cool, right? It'd be kind of interesting just to see. Alright, so we're going to pack pretty heavy here. I think that might be a bit excessive. Maybe not, though. Good enough. We'll take a couple of these. We definitely want to get the damage up from the keg. Skeleton key, 1. Holy water, 1. Sure. And we'll take 1 torch because we are venturing in darkness. So let's get into it. Let's go. Alright. So, I feel sort of a special attachment to the Warrens. And why is that? Well, this is almost like to the point of being a running gag, but I actually used to work, like, I keep saying different places that I work, and they're all like completely different. Like, I was a teacher, I worked at a bank, I was a summer camp counselor, I worked at a conversation school, like, I worked at a butcher shop, and that is, I think, possibly less ridiculous, annoying, but probably okay. Yeah, we'll just get back. But yeah, it's perhaps not as ridiculous as you might think, given that I had just moved back from Japan, and I think this is actually worth eating the treat now. I had just moved back from Japan. I was about to start grad school. I didn't really have anything else going on in my life. I just needed a job. Wow, that's unfortunate. We're going to be camping right away. Yeah, I didn't really have anything else going on in my life, except, you know, looking for a job and trying to get ready for my education to start. We're running this for the first time. I have heard that this is one of the best trinkets in the game. I'm not impressed since it changed, but, you know. But let me tell you something that you probably didn't know about working in a butcher shop. Or perhaps that you did know and just didn't want to think about because you want to be able to eat your food. There is a lot of work that goes into, well, this is a terrible start. There's a lot of work that goes into making sure that your food looks edible and not like total, you know, not disgusting and gross and like a big slab of dead animal, which is what it really is, right? No, there's a lot of preparation that goes into that. There's a lot of work and a lot of skill. Like, I was really impressed with all of the people who worked at that shop as cutters, because, I mean, that's a skill. Like, that's something that you have to build up to. Like, the guys who did it, and did it really well,
a moment of
like,
respite.
They'd been doing that, some of them, since they were in their teens, as, like, that was, like, their like their high school job or whatever. You know, while most of us were out running around just being dumb and wasting our time, they were out there actually learning a valuable, important skill. I think we do this because we do not want to get shuffled again. I'm trying to think what else we might do. I don't think we can risk the occultist's strength or stress, so why don't we just why don't we just do this? I hope we don't get ambushed. Like, it's become a running joke in... We've got a lot of running jokes here, but yeah, I'm glad we didn't get ambushed. Victory. But yeah, they were out there learning how to do something really important, like a crucial, important, necessary service, because most of us don't like to, like, peel a side of beef off of a dead animal and cut it up and trim it themselves and make it edible and presentable and all that. It's not something a lot of people like to do. I'm really disappointed with how this is going so far.
And not the rule.
But there's also a lot of cleanup. Like, I mean, this is gonna sound gross because it's gross, but there's a lot of blood. Like, there's a ton of blood that just gets all over. And my job as the new guy, like, I wasn't a cutter or anything like that, because you have to be, you know, you have to know what you're doing. And they'll train you if they feel like you're good enough to keep around. But I was just the new guy. I just started, and they were like, okay, here's your job. You come in every day, and as soon as you get here, you are going to start hosing down all of the blood and fat and, like, bone chips and, like, ground up offal that we're just going to hopefully get in the bone buckets. What's a bone bucket, you ask? It's about 60 gallon, about a 50, 60 gallon trash can that's full of blood, like, bones and suet and just nasty, disgusting, ugly, awful stuff. That is the trimmings. Like, that's the leavings that nobody wants on their food. And so what do? Well, I mean, they just cut it off and just chuck it. Ideally, it makes it into the bone bucket. And it's yucky work. It's very, very, very yucky work. So when you start spraying the floors down, you know, you're not using, like, you have one source of water, and that is, I think, maybe we do this. Yeah, you have one source of water, and it's a power sprayer. And those are really, really dangerous, by the way. Like, my third day on the job, I can't use blackjack. That's really unfortunate. No, my third day on the job, I nearly like took a chunk of my wrist off because I accidentally sprayed myself with the power sprayer because I had no idea what I was doing, right? Okay, this is really terrible. But yeah, like, you have to be careful. It's dangerous. You're working on, like, a slippery floor around power tools in a refrigerator that's covered in animal blood, fat, and bones. I don't need to repeat myself, but, you know, all this stuff it's just there. It's all lying around, and it has to be disposed of every single day, because otherwise you start living like a fucking carcass hoarder, right? Like, you just got piles and piles of dead animal scraps everywhere. You have to actually get rid of that stuff, right? So yeah, that was my job, was spraying that out, and that was, like I said, really gross, because there's just this almost constant, like, you get there and you're gonna just be spraying out these giant table saws and grinders, stuff that's like probably easily 200, 300 pounds of just table saw or yeah, like this giant meat grinder that is about the size of like a large desk. Like, you know, it's massive. But you gotta do it, right? Because you can't just leave animal scraps, like dead animal scraps, in there for a long time. But as bad as that was, and it was certainly the least fun part of my job, I think we heal. Well, we'll see. It was definitely the least fun part of my job, other than, like, you know, working in a soaking wet refrigerator for like 6 hours of my 8-hour shift. Not a big fan of that. But no, worse than all of that was that about once a month, you would need to, like I said, you are working. Oh, right. Oh, that sucks. You know, you've got, as I said, one water source. Well, similarly, you have one way for that water to go, and that's some drains that you have in the floor. And you just, when you're done, get this giant squeegee, and you just push everything into the drains, and, you know, slowly dry the place up, because obviously can't have your cutters come in the next day and, you know, they're ankle deep in water because you didn't bother draining the place out, right?
Ears,
this is really terrible.
vision,
like, this is running very
very
dangerously. And, you know, besides that, like, we sometimes came in and there was ice on the floor. And, like, if you don't clean that water off, well, you might have just a big, nasty, like, ice skating rink that your guys in the back are going to be working on. So, here's the thing. You have to clean out the drains. And, you know, like I said, water goes in there, but so does just about everything else. Like, all that disgusting crap that I mentioned before, this is not good. Yeah, all that disgusting crap that I mentioned before, yeah, that's all going down there as well. So, you basically have the Warrens underneath, like, in the pipes underneath your feet. I probably could have dealt with the stress, but honestly, we just had a lot of nastiness going on here with all these crits that we took. Yeah, you basically have the Warrens underneath your feet, and, you know,
horrors brought low and driven into the mud.
It's not even cleaning anymore. Like, what I was doing before, as gross as it was, that was still cleaning. You know, that's still like basic maintenance of your workspace. But this wasn't cleaning, it was fucking corpse disposal. Because you have all of this soaking wet, rotting, dead animal down in the drainage pipes. And if you're not careful, like, if you don't handle that shit, that is just a giant, sludgy, putrefying mess. It's like meat oatmeal. It's just the most disgusting thing you can possibly imagine. And as bad as you think it smelled, I promise you, it smelled about 30 times worse. It was so gross. Like, the stench stuck to you. When we cleaned up, and of course, again, who's gonna clean up? Well, the new guy, right? So, when it was time to clean up, they were like, okay, get the aprons, get some more aprons, and then, like, wrap yourself and any exposed skin in garbage bags. And, like, just get ready for the stench. And it was the truth. Like, we had like a surgical mask that we threw on, like anything that was exposed. You think I'm kidding? The smell sticks to you. It sticks to you. And if you don't, like, if it touches you, that is it, man. That is, you are stained with that. It will never leave you. You are just going to be stuck, stinking like month-old, putrefying, rotting animal. And that's just your life now. That's what you're living with. That's what's going on with you. Like, showers won't take it out. Like, washing your hands won't take it out. The only thing that will make it a little bit better is time. That is it. Like, you basically just have to wait for that stained part of your body to slough off in the form of, like, you know, your dead skin cells, and eventually it will go away. Like, finally will you be free of the stench. I'm amazed that this guy's so much faster than us. But then again, I guess we aren't exactly the most nimble party. And I think speed has really been hurting us. I think there is a distinct advantage in being able to go first. But, yeah, like,
Success.
what do you do? How do you get all of that awful, nasty stuff out of there except reach down and scoop it out with your bare hands? Like I said, this slurry of, like, bone chips and, like, this decaying fat and, you know, little pieces of meat and stuff like that. It all just kind of congeals and scabs over. And it's just rotten. Like, it's impossible to even imagine how bad this smells. And that's it. It's corpse disposal. You're just trying to do away with a rotting dead body. And just trying to, you're trying to hide it, basically. You just need to get it out of your house. I kind of felt like the wolf, you know, like in Pulp Fiction. Just trying to, just trying to get this disgusting, you know, blown away, bloody, you know, all these bloody chunks, and just get them somewhere far away from here. That's maybe the worst thing that could have happened. In all seriousness, that's maybe the worst thing that could have happened. I am glad we had him back here for that, to take a second shot at it. Okay. And, yeah, there was no end to the disgusting jobs, like, to be done working there. And as glamourless as the life of a cutter probably sounds, I guarantee you, just being one of the clerks there, just kind of a hired hand, way worse, because you got the bitch work. Like, you got the stuff that everyone else was too important to do. It was kind of an awakening that, you know, my whole life had been a lie. Like, I thought everything was, you know, so clean and perfect and sparkly and rainbows. Like, I worked in Japan, where, like, admittedly, it's not the healthiest work culture. Like, it's not the best work-life balance, but at the very least, you know, I was wearing a shirt and tie to work every day, you know? And at my new job, what do you wear to work? Stuff you don't mind getting caked in blood, right?
These nightmarish creatures can be felled. They can be beaten.
So, yeah, it was an awakening. Like, and these aren't, like, this wasn't even, like, one of the really, truly disgusting jobs. It wasn't, like, sewage, you know, like, sewage worker or something like that. Like, one of those essential, necessary jobs that absolutely nobody in their right mind would ever find appealing. Like, I'm not trying to shame anybody, like, if that's your thing, or if that's something, you know, your family, like, a member of your family has done. Like, that's an essential service. Like, thank you for allowing society to function. But it's gross, you know? It's really gross. Like, I mentioned the bone buckets, right? Well, here's the thing about bone buckets. Again, like everything, like seemingly everything else there, it has to be cleaned a lot. A lot. And, I mean, you're gonna want to clean it, because if you don't, if you just like let it be, if you just like let it rot, then yeah, you'll just empty it out one day, because like I said, what, like 50, 60 gallon trash can? I'm really bad estimating size, but yep. If you don't take care of that, if you don't clean it out, I'm trying to figure out how we do this. I think we just take a kill. Yeah, if you don't do that, if you just leave it there, then one day you're going to empty out these bone buckets, and do you know how much 60 gallons of meat and bone weighs? A lot more than you think. Like, whatever number you thought in your head, more than that. By a lot. So, you know, I'm sure you can't tell from how I sound, but I'm actually a very scrawny, tiny, skinny person. I know. You must be absolutely shocked to find that out. But yeah, I'm weak. Okay. There, I said it. But yeah, me and the other new guy there, because at this point there was another unfortunate newbie. Lucky for me, he got to share some of the bitch work. Yeah, I'm getting the worries too. Yep, I'm definitely getting the worries too. I don't remember what this one does.
Self-preservation is paramount at any cost.
And this could be, that could have been another. But I think we have to kill this one, just to make sure that he doesn't send someone else over the edge, which is a distinct possibility. I don't like to do this because we've got this going on here, but I think we slice him up, and then next round we're gonna hit him with the big boy, right? Weaken and curse. Yeah, I mean, we don't really need healing. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, you gotta empty the bone buckets out, because otherwise, if you do, or if you don't, one day you're gonna show up to work and you're just gonna empty one of the bone buckets out and be like, oh my god, where did all these scabs come from? Because that's what you would have, a giant bucket of scabs. And you can't have that, because that's not sanitary. That's not, like, even though that is where the garbage goes, you can't just, like, you just can't have a bucket of scabs, right? This is just one of those, it's one of those unspoken things in the social contract. Like, this could be catastrophic. This has the potential to ruin us. And I mean that sincerely. This could be the last straw. We'll see. So yeah, we
unnerved, unbalanced.
Crap. We might have to retreat early. Like, somebody in a recent in the comments recently, somebody said that they want to see me lose more. Here's your chance. I think you're about to.
A powerful blow.
But yeah, me and the other new guy, we were trying to clean out the oh please, oh no. Yeah, I think we're probably gonna have to bail here. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to bail.
Grievous injury.
Yeah, I think we are.
Palpable fear.
what was I saying? Oh, so we were cleaning out the bone bucket, right? And like I said, you have one water source there, and that's the power sprayer. So we've got this 80 or was the most elastic sized drum here I think I've ever heard of. And like we're trying to figure out, okay, well, how do we empty it, right? Like, how do we do this? Like, how do we spray it out? Like, we emptied it. How do we spray it out and get like all the blood and like ichor and suet and offal and scabs out of there? Like, how do we? Interesting. Like, how do you do that? How do we make that happen? And so what we came up with was that we would get the power sprayer, obviously, because I mean that's, like I said, our one water source. And we were gonna just sit the bucket on its side up against the wall, and we were just gonna spray into it and, you know, try and spray all the stuff out. Well, as God said on day 1, angle of incidence equals angle of reflection, idiot. And so you can probably, the more physically minded among you, can probably figure out what happened next. We just got this huge spray back of like blood and water and like every disgusting piece of animal that you can possibly imagine. And it looked like, to crib a line from the immortal D&D parody video, short movie, The Gamers, it looked like a vat of beef stroganoff exploded on us. I mean, we were a disgusting, trembling mess, you know, standing there in the cold. Wow, they did change this. You can actually switch in between. That's awesome. Yeah, we were just standing there, covered in water, like I said, in a refrigerator. Yeah, just covered in like blood and like bone chips, and I don't even need to go through the list at this point. You know, I probably shouldn't have done that, because if that backfired, that stress would have killed him. But yeah, we're just standing there. I should have healed. This is probably okay. This is probably okay. But yeah, we're just standing there, just like, oh my god, this is the worst moment of my human life. Like, this is the worst thing that could have possibly ever happened. But now, I am 30 years old. I was like, what, 25, 24 when I did that? 25, I guess. That was the year that I got married. And now I look back and I realize, no, it wasn't like the most awful, terrible thing that I have ever done. It was one of the coolest. Because, you know, I hate you.
Or cowardice.
I hate you too. It was one of the coolest, because now, you know, I can look back on it and be like, wow, I had a really terrible job. And instead of like complaining and griping and crying about how you know, terrible everything was, you know, I kind of sucked it up and toughed it out. And I don't want to make it sound like, you know, I'm this big tough guy, because, you know, there were a lot of people who worked there a lot longer than I did. But I kind of felt cool. Like, you know, like I got to see a process and you know, get to be on the side of the counter that most people never do in their lives. And so, yeah, that was pretty cool. Anyway, whenever I'm in the Warrens, I always think back to working in that butcher shop, because
Some experiments
Yeah,
should have never
that's
happened.
cleaning out the
You are
drains
doing just
was a
what
lot like that
ending.
run that we just had. It was, yeah, I was basically T-Bone. That was pretty much me. I can't grow the sweet facial hair. It just comes in really patchy, but I'm basically them.
The plume
I was definitely
and the
well
pistol.
over 100 stress.
A fitting
You
end to
misplaced
folly,
my health stone.
and a curse upon
That's
us
alright.
all.
That's the reason I gave it to you. Anyway, we did a lot of work here. These guys probably gonna need to take 5 here. Anyway, that was an interesting run. I don't think I've figured out how to run that party yet. I liked that party, but dude, I'll speak directly to the person who suggested this team. I'm sorry I made it look really bad. I'm sure this is a really good team. Please tell me what I was doing wrong, because I want to I want to run this party again, and I want to do it right. So please, feedback. Is this not a darkness party? Should I run in the light? Just, feedback, advice. I'd appreciate it, because I want to give it another shot, because it seems really fun, and it was an interesting way for me to run the Houndmaster that I have not since he first dropped. Anyway, other than that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.